be advised, the opinions and views of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Everything we listen to, everything we watch, everything we read, everything we wear. Behind all our favorite things, there is an author, an artist, an inventor. Genuine, real, original. Pushing the limits of imagination and innovation for our comfort, our enjoyment. Making life interesting. Enjoy their efforts. Respect them. They help shape our world.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Intellectual Property. I'm your host, Attorney Sarah Jane Sugitan. Tonight, we're going to talk about the Philippine status in the U.S. Trade Representative's Piracy Watch List. But before that, I heard this morning that Attorney Carlos P. Medina Jr. of the Legal Network for Truthful Elections suffered an aneurysm and will be operated upon at the Medical City. Two of my co-hosts, Attorney Ona Caritos and Attorney April Mabanes, host a weekly TV show here on GNN called Lente, and would like to invite everyone to please pray for the speedy recovery of Attorney Chochoy Medina. Now, moving on to our topic tonight, we're going to talk about the Philippine status in the U.S. Trade Representative's Watch List, or Piracy Watch List. And joining me this evening is Mr. Harry Tambuatco of Super Brands to give a perspective of the private sector in why is it important for the Philippines to stay out of that watch list. Now, according to the press release issued by the U.S. Trade Representative and the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines, in the 2010 out-of-cycle review of the U.S. Trade Representative, they have chosen not to downgrade the Philippines in the watch list. When you say downgrade in a watch list, ang ibig sabihin po niyan, itataas mo siya sa monitoring system mo. So far, the 2009 status of the Philippines has been maintained. So status quo po tayo dun sa piracy watch list. And it has international implications kasi po yung mga produkto, mga Filipino brands, Filipino products that go into the States have tariff considerations and the general system of preferences in trade that have implications. So that's why we're closely monitoring this U.S. watch list, and the government seeks to address the status of the Philippines, of the country, in enforcing intellectual property rights. Now, according to the press release issued by the Philippine Intellectual Property Office, there were efforts by other lobby groups to downgrade the Philippines, meaning to increase it or put it up higher in the watch list. And unfortunately, these lobbyists were not able to get the Philippines downgraded into watch list simply because Director General Ricardo Blancaflor of the IPO has implemented a holistic approach when it comes to addressing piracy and counterfeiting. So this holistic approach has been told to us by the no less than Attorney Alan B. Hepty, the Deputy Director General of the IPO, to encompass an intergovernment agency effort rather, in implementing and promoting respect for intellectual property rights. Let me welcome first Mr. Harry Tambuatco on the set tonight to talk about, of course, the piracy watch list.
Hello, Attorney. Thanks for having me as your guest. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I know you see me on TV Monday nights here, but tonight my role is to be a guest. To represent no less than Super Brands Marketing International, Inc.
We've discussed this morning in the partner radio program of intellectual property, which is Piracy Watch on DZRJ 810 kilohertz, that the Philippines actually received the promotion. In other words, we maintained the status quo in the Piracy Watch list. Ibig sabihin, hindi po tayo tumaas sa radar, no? So, ibig sabihin, yung efforts natin, police efforts in, paghuli sa mga pirated sellers and everything else has been recognized by the United States.
Attorney, I laud the efforts of IP, intellectual property, simply because na-maintain nga nila. And listening to Deputy Director General
Alan Hepty,
I was flabbergasted, or I was a bit irritated, to tell you the truth. Now, there are some Filipinos, especially in media, that go out of their way to promote that we go up the watch list. So, hindi naman nation building yan. Sinisira nila ang posisyon ng Pilipinas. And I don't understand that. For what? For what purpose? I guess they get paid. You know, it irritates me that there are people who are Filipinos, born and raised here, who actually make a living in this country. And no less media pa ito, and I don't want to have to name his name, no, but I heard it with Deputy Director General this morning. Now, they actually write to ruin the country's disposition. So that's not nation building. These people like that,
They're
this
acting
intellect-
against
against,
national
yes.
interests.
Maybe it's an ignorance, or maybe it's with intent. They're being an idiot, you know, so to speak. Because ako, I tear down people who will become a direct assault to the prosperity and the disposition of the
the
Philippines.
nation.
Dapat naman as Filipinos, correct me if I'm wrong.
Alam niyo yung sinasabi ni Harry na yun, merong dalawang lobby groups, okay, private sector, who are lobbying talaga para yung Philippines, our country, will move up this watch list. Ang intention nga po ng gobyerno natin, bumaba, if not matanggal tayo sa watch list na yon, kasi may effect siya sa ating trade with US relations trade-wise.
Well, I know the owner of the paper, so I have all this intent, and I will advise maybe what we should do is take people like that out, because they pose as Filipinos, but when in reality, they're called terrorists. You know, anybody who's against the promotion of the country has to be called a terrorist. In this case, not the terrorists that we see in Libya and
Or
on
sa
Middle East.
peace and order,
Oh,
yung
peace and
tinitira
order
niya,
yan.
kundi economic-wise.
Oh, economic naman
diba?
to. And
Kasi economic saboteur, di ba yung sinasabi
correct.
nila?
And everybody's involved when it comes to consumerism, and lahat tayo tinatamaan. Hindi yata naiintindihan ng maraming tao yan, ano? And the role of IP in this country or anywhere around the world.
Oh, actually, naintindihan ko kasi yung, katulad ng Intellectual Property Office at yung tinatawag nilang National Committee on Intellectual Property Rights na kinreate by Executive Order in 2005. Sa NCIPR po na yan, yung National Committee on Intellectual Property Rights, nandiyan po yung IPO as head, nandiyan din po ang Customs, kasi yung mga imports ng fake, ayan, nandyan. NBI, yung ating pong mga kapulisan. So, involved yan. It's an intergovernment agency effort. And so far, they've been doing very well in terms of cooperation work. Katulad nga po ng binalita kanina ni Deputy Director General Alan B. Hepty sa ating radio show, sinabi ho niya na through this holistic approach, pinapakansela nila yung business permits ng mga mall owners at ng mga tindahan po na nag-aalaw, pumapayag na yung mga lessee nila magbenta ng mga peking produkto. Ayan. So, kumbaga, that's very innovative. Usually po, kino-confiscate natin, di ba, nire-raid natin. Yan po yung palagi natin naririnig na hakbang ng gobyerno. Pero yung ngayon, ang Intellectual Property Office, parang tinutungo po niya is holistic approach. So, hindi lang siya seize natin, i-raid natin. Let's go beyond that, diba?
2 points there, no? You're right. The lessors, the landlords, have to be shamed. Alam mo, sa Singapore, ang ginagawa ng gobyerno when people are involved with terrorism, in this case, terrorism as in consumerism, no? In consumer products, they're still looked at as terrorists. In this case, it is these big, rich landlords na nagbibingi-bingihan, nagbubulag-bulagan, and look the other way. Can you imagine? Everybody knows the counterfeiting, the fake commodities that are peddled openly in Green Hills. Diba? And the other one is the Chinese group that is peddled openly. And we all know they're not only just counterfeit, these are smuggled, especially in 168.
Imported.
Yeah, in Makati, it's embarrassing. You have Makati Cinema Square. And if I'm not mistaken, may-ari niyan owns one of the newspapers in this country, leading broadsheets, who's also a politician. And then you've got that place in Quiapo. I mean, it's amazing. Why they're being sold openly? Alam mo, 2 things. Tama yung ginagawa ni Director General Rick, no? Na innovative, tinitira sa US Embassy. But, syempre, well, I guess these people, because they have money coming out of their ears, making money out of the consumers, and while they're tearing apart the economy of this country in the Philippines, leasing out to lessees, yeah, who operate
selling fake,
and with irresponsibility. They should be condemned. I think they should be condemned because a lot of people, maybe you should explain to the viewers, Sarah, Kasi attorney, nangyayari dito, I don't think people understand the role of intellectual property. Akala nila ata it is just local imported products that are being copied. It's not.
It works both ways.
Yeah, it
O,
works
pati
both
Filipino
ways.
products, kinokopya din. At yung katulad ng sinabi mo kanina, terorismo, it's an economic terrorism.
Yes.
O sabotage, no? Yung parang parang pagmamaliit sa mga efforts ng ating gobyerno tungkol sa piracy. Sinasabi po nating terrorism yan, unang-una dahil sinisiraan natin yung efforts ng mga tao. Total, lahat naman po tayo, gusto natin fake-free yung Pilipinas, di ba? So, yung pong pagmamaliit sa ganung mga bagay, it really is sabotage. Pangalawa, terrorism, kasi yung mga fake na, wala just CDs and the bags and luxury items, fake medicines, fake books.
Yun. Can you
So
imagine?
Oo,
the
it harms the
medicines?
public. Talaga,
Yes.
it's against the public interest na meron tayong fakes and counterfeits in the market. I'm sure lahat po kayo na nakabili na kahit paano na isang fake o counterfeit na produkto. You would know that it's disposable, diba? It's not high quality. Oh, sure, you get to watch a movie, then after that, it breaks down. The CD, just throw it out, or, you store it, pero it just takes up space, no? And it doesn't really give you
Well, it doesn't play
pleasure.
anymore.
Yes, it doesn't
Ayaw
play
na
anymore.
rin
Disposable na. Oo, kumbaga. So, let's reverse the situation. We have, for example, as you mentioned earlier, we have killed the Filipino film industry because of piracy. We'd rather watch fake DVD rather than go to the movies, pay their compensation, di ba? And with the industry comes employment.
Yan.
Okay?
Ang daming nasisira.
Yung creative industry natin, hindi yan films. How many films did we use to
500
produce?
in a year, now we're down to 40, 50, and struggling.
Yes,
In
so
the past
struggling.
15 years. Since the duplication or the entry of fake DVDs that proliferate everywhere. Ngayon, you can buy it 5 pieces for 100. Pumunta kayo sa Quiapo. Ang masama pa dyan, I don't understand this part. Bakit kaya parati mga Muslim ang nagbebenta niyan? Magtataka kaya, di ba? Bakit sila? Of course, hindi lang naman mga Muslim, may mga Katoliko rin dyan. But
They get tagged.
yeah, they're
diba?
tagged
Oo,
by
they
the
get tagged.
industry. And of course, you've got the illegals from China that are selling illegally, kaya nakakatawa, in the open, very blatantly, in 168. It doesn't make sense. But lubos-lubusan na bastusan na
Ilaliken ko po ito sa election offenses, yung nabanggit ko nga kanina, yung grupong Legal Network for Truthful Elections. Ang pinopromote namin doon, yung, kumbaga, magkaroon ng accountability. Same here, accountability kung sino yung election offenders or sino yung fake offender, yung taga-benta or yung mall owner na hinahayaang magbenta yung person na yun ng pirated goods, dapat may accountability. Dapat mapakita natin na it doesn't just go away. Nahuhuli, nakukulong, ganyan. So, pag may na-punish na, diba, may deterrent effect. Lahat ng tao, ay, naku, meron na nakulong dahil dyan. Meron ng, na-shutdown na negosyo permanently dahil dyan. So, magkakaroon siya ng deterrent effect. Kaso, may problema din sa prosecution. Nawawala ng ebidensya, matagal yung kaso, at nasisettle out of court. Kasi nga, private property po ang intellectual property. Katulad ng real property, lupa, or personal property, cellphone, nanakaw, ganyan. So, pwedeng isettle. O, soli mo sa akin cellphone, atras ko yung demanda.
Yan,
Kasi nga,
yan.
it's private property. It's not a human right na kung saan yung state po mismo ang magpo-prosecute dito sa mga offenders na ito, yung mga mall owners na merong liability, at yung mga nagbibenta, at yung mga bumibili.
In Super Brands, we are multinational. We're in 88 countries worldwide. We have made it a requirement that every brand entry into our program, which is every 2 years, are restricted, compelled to have registration with IPO. Now, let's look at that in the reverse fashion. Why register into intellectual property? This is a business safeguard so that your brand remains to be yours, especially when copied or when there's theft, when people or other entrepreneurs use your name because inaagaw nila yung goodwill mo. So, there you are now. Now, you look at that in reverse, and the selling of fake counterfeit products in Green Hills. I mean, alam mo, I'd be embarrassed to say I lived in Green Hills if I had. I mean, because that's really the center of piracy. I mean, don't even think Somalia. It's right here. It's called Green Hills. It's called 168. The reason I'm adamant about that is because, alam mo, I remember in Hong Kong 20 years ago, every time I would go there, it was the same situation, 168. It would be like
Kumbaga,
Quiapo.
kalat
Kalat
dito.
nasa kalye.
Yung
Paglabas mo
mga
ng hotel,
pirated goods.
no less in Chim Chat Suey, right